Iran's Supreme Leader has insisted no fraud took place in the recent presidential elections and that demonstrations must end. Following days of protests with hundreds of thousands taking to the streets, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei made his first public remarks. He backed President Ahmadinejad and described Britain as the most evil enemy of his nation. From Tehran, John Lyon reports.
This was the government's answer to days of huge opposition rallies. Official media had been urging Iranians to travel to Tehran for Friday prayers. This was the overwhelming response. These streets outside Tehran University have been the centre of so much political drama during the revolution and in the following 30 years. Today, while the Supreme Leader addressed his followers inside, outside the crowds gave their devoted support.
As soon as we came down here to Friday prayers, a huge crowds gathered around us to pledge their support for the Supreme Leader Ayatollah Khamenei. And it's a crucial moment both for the leader, for President Ahmadinejad and for the whole Islamic Republic. They've got to show they've got the same support, the same legitimacy, the same fervour as the opposition.
Inside the university, Mir Hossein Mousavi, the opposition leader, indicating his loyalty, and not far away, President Ahmadinejad. Once again, the president was given the full support of the Supreme Leader, who backed the disputed election result. Ayatollah Khamenei offered an olive branch to his political rival, former President Rafsanjani, who's been backing the opposition. But to the protesters themselves, he gave the strongest possible warning.
Street challenge is not acceptable after the election. This is challenging democracy and the election itself. I want all sides to put an end to this method. If they don't, then the responsibility of its consequences, the riots, should be shouldered by those who do not put an end to it.
That surely signals the beginning of a new and much tougher crackdown on the opposition. It's for the demonstrators now to decide how to respond. And to the outside world, it was a sign that this government is no longer interested in world opinion. It could be a turning point for the Islamic Republic.
OK, let's speak to John right now. What difference will what he said make to the protests that we've seen?
Well, that's the big question now. First of all, do the opposition leaders, particularly Mir Hossein Mousavi, who, as you see, was there, so he was giving still some support to the leader, does he obey that call to call off all demonstrations? And even if he does, what do the protesters do? I've already seen them blogging and sending emails out saying, whatever our leader says, we're going out on the streets to protect our votes. So what happens to those demonstrators? Do they go out tomorrow for a demonstration that's scheduled? And if they do, what kind of tough response will the government show? And I think the other big question now after this really tough speech from the Supreme Leader is Iran's international position. This was really Iran cutting off all ties with the outside world, saying, we don't care what you think, even criticising President Obama for things he hasn't even said, saying Mr. Obama had been calling out protesters onto the streets. And so I think that any chance of dialogue in these sort of contexts looks very distant indeed.
John Lyon in Tehran, thank you. Nearly 650 workers constructing a new plant at the